Welcome back to Risque Business News. I'm your host, Laura.
And I'm May.
And today we're going to be talking about like real things.
Oh, no.
I know. This is like a real episode. Why? We're going to be talking about this article that came out on Curbed about the housing shortage in New York City. And the reason this stuck out to me is I think there's some crime happening.
Okay.
And this person agrees.
By landlords, you don't say.
By the government? Perhaps.
No way.
I'm not sure. And so this is completely like a little conspiracy theory about the housing market here. But listen, the facts are facting. That's my new phrase. So enjoy. How we doing? How we feeling?
Oh, we're doing well. We're doing very well. We're back. We're back in action.
Yeah. I was just in Austin, Texas. You're going to Austin tomorrow?
I'm going to Austin tomorrow. What
is going on? It's kind of getting weird.
That happens to us with everything. With like Costa Rica. London.
Like literally you landed in London while... or you left London while I was landing.
Yes.
I was like, okay, bye.
I feel like there's been something else, too.
There's definitely
Well, there's
been
Costa
others.
Rica for sure. Definitely Austin. Anyway.
Definitely London. That's 3. That's already plenty.
Here's an idea.
What if we did it at the same time?
We should go somewhere at the same exact time.
Maybe
even same flight?
Couldn't happen.
Same
Can't
flight.
happen. Allegedly, you're coming to Colombia.
I'm coming to Colombia because why the fuck not? I'm young. I got nothing going on. This is my attitude this year, and just of all of the years until I bear children out of my vagina, is that I am going to do whatever I want to do 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And if there's an opportunity to travel to a country I've never been to, I am going.
Yeah. Well,
so
Colombia it is. If you guys have recommendations for Cartagena, look at me. I'm ready to go.
I actually think it's pronounced Cartagena.
Fuck my life.
Yeah. I actually saw...
I'm canceling the trip. I'm not going.
Some pretentious ass TikTok I saw where someone's like, all Americans call it Cartagena. It's Cartagena. And I'm like, all right. Well,
all
now
right,
I know
listen,
that.
Lady. Get hit by a car.
Yeah, well, at least you got Cutter on everybody.
I do have Cutter on
You
everybody.
and your fucking
I
Cutter.
cannot wait for the next world event and Cutter so that I can very excitedly correct everybody's pronunciation.
For everybody watching at home, I am wearing my Republican ski socks.
People have to pay extra for that view.
Yeah. So me and Mark went skiing, I think last year, and this was the only socks still in stock at the place. And I was like, I feel like it was probably because we went skiing in Vermont, and everyone's like, I'm not going to be caught dead in these fucking Republican-ass ski socks.
Why did you ship them here? Get them out.
Yeah. Anyway.
I think they're cute.
You know what? It was so cold today, so I was just like, I'm going to put on my fucking Republican ski socks because it's freezing.
What does make me laugh is that growing up, since I did a bunch of like, whatever... USA shit, so I had like all the USA gear, so like in retrospect it's like this tiny little Republicans, just not even tiny, just running around like, like, full like sweats, just like.
For those of you confused at home, these are literally just American flag socks.
But one of our running jokes is that like it's become so polarizing now to just wear the flag. It has,
of course. No, it totally has. We're not the only ones saying it. It's super, it's actually very strange how
it's really weird because like I don't know, it's cute colors,
I guess. I mean, no other countries do fucked up shit, and as far as I am aware of, anyway.
Oh, they certainly do, and they're still rocking it.
Yeah,
but I guess to be fair, like most of our country's still rocking those too.
That's true.
Just not Vermont.
I'm rocking them.
May is. Yeah.
I'll tell you what I am gonna do before I get out. I like brought them out for the podcast, but I am going to be tucking them into my boots if I go anywhere
around Brooklyn, New York.
Imagine I get yelled at for being a Republican on the subway.
For the pod, do it for the pod.
That'd be quite the tale.
I'd like to review. That's great. So yeah, you're going to Austin. I just went to Austin. That city, not a real place. Let me tell you that. And I lived there for 7 years. It's not real. It's not for adults.
No.
Like you're not serious living there. I love you. And I think you're so fun, but like grow up. Grow the fuck up, Austin, Texas.
So what, I mean, maybe this is just an idea.
Nope.
Okay. So my theory is like it's really hard to go back to a place that you hung out with when you were young and do things that are not the same things that you used to do. Like even for me in the East Village, I'm like, what do I do in the East Village except for be out at 4 a.m. and doing blow? You know what I mean?
Okay, I see your point.
So maybe it's one of those things where you just went back and just sort of fell into your old habits.
I went back with my friend who just got laid off and dumped. Twofer. I love her so much.
I'm sorry, friend.
She's fine. She works. If you guys have any leads, tech, it's a whole thing. So we went back and like she was one of the girls from my class, and we drank I think everything in the city.
Okay.
We just did a self-made tour of the bars of the city, and it was why.
Yeah.
And there's people scooting around, and everyone's 24. The entire city is 24-year-olds. No one. You die if you go over that age. I was almost gonna die.
You get killed.
You get
actually
nightly routine.
Yeah.
Take people to the streets.
They send them to the purge.
Is over 24 years old in that city. I had a great time, but I'm just saying it's not for adults. Okay.
We're gonna get a bunch of hate from people from Austin.
No, they're gonna be like, we 100% agree.
Yeah.
I'm concerned being here. I love it. Don't get me wrong. Like I adore it. But I cannot go there anymore except for to do comedy.
Yeah. Did you do any comedy?
I was going to, but too busy
drinking.
Drank in the streets bars.
Sometimes it's tough. Like you go to these cities that are known. Like Austin has a pretty good comedy scene. So I hear. I've never actually participated.
It has. I've done shows there a couple of times. They're so fun.
Yeah.
That is actually like. You're right. It's like this specific like version of Austin that I went to. It was just like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
I can never be this person again.
But I was thinking, I was like, oh, maybe I'll send out some DMs, try to get on a show. And I was like, or I could just enjoy myself for the weekend and hang out with my friends that I intended to go see.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's the other thing, too, is it's like the investment to go and see people like that. I'm like, just knock it out. And
yeah.
You know.
And also, I try not to be super drunk on stage, and that would really hinder my plans for the weekend.
Course, because you do like want to actually deliver your jokes and not just be like, and another thing.
And the government.
They're like, okay.
I would go down there with my Republican ski socks on, talking about the government.
Actually, you won't. Austin will put you in the street and shoot you.
Yeah, they will murder me.
They're not into
ship
it.
Me out.
They're not into it. So that was my weekend. Did you do anything fun?
I did.
You went to fucking San Francisco.
I went to San Francisco. We're all over the road. I was actually visiting other friends out in San Francisco. This is like my friendship tour. And then after the tour, I'm done. I'm going to be in New York for a little while or traveling for comedy again. But yeah, it was super fun. San Francisco also, I feel like, is not a real place. You're either a student.
Both those cities.
Yeah.
Not real.
You're a student or you're a tech bro. And there's nothing in between. It just feels like it's really, really pretty and gorgeous and all of the things. And it has like a lot more to offer than I actually thought, to be honest with you. Also, I think that like, you know how the media is like San Francisco's on fire and all the homeless people are scaling the buildings and raping your wife and whatever the fuck. They're Godzilla.
Homeless guys are running the government.
Yeah, they're running the government. Okay, no. It was like
know.
super pretty. I'm sure that exists. Like there's obviously footage of it, but it's probably within like a 4-block radius.
Yeah, you want to know where that radius is? Where my company decided to have our company kickoff was literally like in a homeless camp last year. Like it was at like their major downtown, and like it was fucking bananas. Like every time we left the hotel, we were like, "I'm sorry. Like, what are we doing? We're in their territory."
They put you in Chaz. In the new Chaz.
Yeah. That was where Seattle, that was where we had our kickoffs, our keynote speeches where we're just next to the homeless guys.
Crazy.
I got chased. It was crazy.
That's insane.
I do have that kind of a face.
You do.
I do have chasing face.
You do have chasing face. You also have hitting face.
I do. I have a lot of altercations. And I don't do anything. I don't know, man.
Remember when... you know what? Never mind. I was going to say there was a homeless guy who yelled at you. Sorry, unhoused. Because he cares so much. But anyway, that he yelled at you were on a stage. I'll just leave it at that. And some guy yelled at you on the said stage.
Yes, that's happened twice, actually. One time he came up to me and then started taking stuff out of his like little satchel, and I was like, I'm about to get fucking knifed. And I'm holding a mic. I was like, do I keep doing a bit? It's genuinely the most concerned, and I did. That was the weirdest part, is I kept doing the joke.
Well, also you can't fuck with him because you don't know what he's capable of.
Absolutely not.
You can't be like, look at this fucking guy.
No,
seriously.
So I kept like awkwardly doing my joke, but like literally the entire crowd and myself were just watching this man pull stuff out of his bag, and I'm like, and they're like, oh fuck, dude, you should probably run. And I was like, I've got the microphone. I got to keep going.
Oh my God, that's insane.
I didn't. You know what ended up happening is he pulled out a comb from his and then started brushing his hair at me
Oh, at you? What do you mean
Yeah,
by brushing
like-
his hair at you?
Like, it was like, I don't know.
At least he wasn't brushing your hair.
Maybe that was next, but I was like, and we're done. I made the host of the show come over. I was like, you're up, buddy. Get back in here.
Oh my God, that's
You're
so
up.
funny.
It was a good time.
That is fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of many times this has now happened to me. I don't
Don't
know what's going on. If you know, please tell me. I will change this part of my appearance. I don't want this happening anymore.
It's so funny.
All right. Shall we get into this crazy ass story? Speaking of unhoused, we're going to talk about a housing crisis.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
a perfect segue.
Oh.
Wow.
But first, I have a couple things that I pulled off the internet that spoke to me.
Oh my gosh.
This first one is...
I've seen this. Okay.
Okay. All right. This is making the rounds because this is horrifying. There is a CNN just did this like little story on a kissing device in China that has been going viral on social media because it mimics the exact texture and temperature and moisture of a human mouth so you can kiss it.
Do you think people are just kissing it?
Absolutely not. They're fucking it, CNN. They are fucking it. Why does this go so far back, dude? Why is this going so... What are you going to tongue?
Yeah.
What are you going to tongue about 8 inches deep if you're being generous? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
They made a glory hole device.
That's
for
amazing.
Sure.
That's fantastic.
And it makes noises.
No, come on.
Yeah, dude. It makes...
Can we hear the noises? Do you have a YouTube of it?
Oh, I sure do.
Ew.
New device from China allows couples to simulate kissing over the phone. It also conveniently connects to your phone. You can plug that bitch into...
my goodness. So if Mark is away, I can kiss him on this device.
Yeah. And he can get...
And he can kiss me.
No,
and
he can get head from you.
Yeah, well, that's the only time he's getting head. I'll tell you that much. Maybe this device will be much better than me at head. That would actually be great for him, to be honest.
Phone. It's been hailed as a way for long-distance couples to have real physical intimacy.
So that one's a smaller one than the one we saw.
Physical intimacy is are the words we should be using. Here's how it works, though. It has pressure sensors and actuators with a silicone mold of a person's lips. It can also transmit the sounds of a person making kissing sounds. The creator said the inspiration came from his own long-distance relationship, and it only cost $40.
Wow.
$40. That's like actually a steal.
Yeah, he should bump up those numbers because I'm going to tell you something. That audience for that is niche.
That audience for that is just any man who would like a device to give him like little head thing.
Yeah, but why wouldn't they just get a flesh lamp then?
I don't know, you can
or a
connect it to your
fleshlight. What
phone.
is
Yeah, you're right. I guess that's basically a fleshlight that just plugs into your phone with lips.
Yeah, with lips. You can definitely get a flesh lamp. What is it called? Fleshlight,
right?
With lips for sure.
I think this is our market.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be our first merch.
Yeah.
Fleshlight.
A fleshlight with lips.
Risque business flashlight.
Risque business fleshlight. Not bad.
Not bad.
We would buy it.
Mm-hmm. $40. Definitely not enough money.
No, that's crazy.
I know. The sounds really...
the sounds are not going to work.
But why?
Oh my God, that's so weird.
Yeah, so that's like just the important stuff you guys need to be knowing about. So that's available. Just go ahead and check that out. There's no tongue because tongue gets in the way, I guess.
Of the dick that's ramming through
Yeah,
there.
that is ramming the back of this fleshlight. Second little piece I have, this is creepy. Carnegie Mellon, famous university. They're up to some shady shit. They developed a way to use Wi-Fi to see people through walls.
Oh boy. Okay. Well,
why are we doing this?
Yeah. What's the research project that was like, we got to see through these fucking walls?
Cancer's still a thing, folks. Maybe we do focus on that.
I guess one thing that would be helpful is like seeing electrical wire.
Yeah, but I guess, but like apparently what they're doing is they're using it kind of like, I'm not a scientist, shocker, but like a sonar kind of thing.
Oh.
Like the way it was described in this article where it can serve as a ubiquitous substitute for normal RGB cameras when it comes to sensing people in a room. Using Wi-Fi, you can overcome obstacles like poor lighting and occlusion that regular camera lenses face. You got that?
Wow.
You can get over the occlusion. Hate that. But they have this little picture of how they have people who are being sensed with the Wi-Fi, and it looks like it's just like this little net of Wi-Fi that's around them.
Weird.
It looks like what superheroes would see.
Yeah.
This
is really odd.
And what's crazy about it is they can use this. Obviously, they can transmit some of this stuff via Wi-Fi. Don't get me wrong. And everyone has it already in their house.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that, like, I don't know what use case this gets creepy, but there's certainly, like, the first couple are going to be, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, this gets in certain governments for sure.
I'm
just gonna keep an eye on who's in there.
Technology is just gonna kill us all.
Our first two banter things were both weird. Weird technology stuff. And then the last little piece here before we get into our main story, this just made me laugh. It's a screenshot of a TikTok, and this girl's going, when I kept typing my password over and over because it wasn't populating in the right box, and I realized I was sending it in Teams to my boss. So I deleted all the messages, but they still showed up on his phone, and it was diarrhea since Easter, $.
Oh my God. Diarrhea since Easter, $.
My favorite part is over and over.
And he's just like,
diarrhea since Easter. Diarrhea since Easter. Diarrhea since Easter.
That is so funny.
Thank you, RJ_Walters, for sharing.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Diarrhea since Easter. And I like what's so funny is like I have absolutely got some chaotic passwords like that too, where I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna share them on the pod because some of them are
since Easter.
$. It also goes diarrhea's misspelled, and then it goes lowercase, and then Easter is all uppercase.
Is diarrhea misspelled?
I think so. It feels wrong. I feel like there's more R's involved in diarrhea.
Dude, I don't know how to spell diarrhea. And you know what's funny is I type it out constantly.
Yeah, you do. I think your phone has just like got every version of the spelling
Yeah.
memorized. Oh no, she nailed it. Wait, no, she didn't. Wait,
diarrhea. Yeah, she nailed it.
Oh, did you mean diarrhea? Yeah, it has 2 R's.
Oh, okay. Now I need to take a good look at how it's spelled.
Yeah,
because
there you
it
go.
is a very important word in my vocabulary.
You memorized that. Diarrhea has 2 R's.
It's a tough word to spell.
It is. I nailed it.
For some reason, the word guaranteed always trips me up, man.
Oh, God.
It trips me up.
Guarantee is like, does it have every? No, it doesn't have an I. Almost every vowel. They're really leaning in.
Yeah, they're leaning in. No O's.
Oh, or I's. It has 3. I'm an idiot. I don't speak English. Okay. All right. Anything else on diarrhea before?
Nothing else on diarrhea.
Okay, let's move into this. I'm like nervous to talk about this because it's kind of complicated. And I'm not that smart sometimes. So let's
all right, well, let's try it.
Let's try it. I hope this makes sense. So, because I found it really interesting. So there is this big conspiracy, as I mentioned at the beginning of the pod, on why the fuck New York rent is so expensive right now, because it's crazy.
It's wild.
It's it is really crazy. It's breaking records. Like, it is actually like the most expensive it's like ever been.
I had a friend who had a roommate.
Uh-oh.
And she was paying
$5,000. The roommate?
No. Both of them each were paying $5,000. The rent was $10,000.
I'm sorry.
And it was, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but the apartment was not fucking that nice. It had no outdoor space. It was in Union Square. I was like, what the fuck?
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. I'm not kidding
you at all. Was it a luxury building?
No. It was above a Foot Locker. It was above the Foot Locker in Union Square.
So you pay extra for that, for sure.
Yeah.
The sneaker drops, you can just drop right down. Yeah,
it was insane.
That's a benefit. Okay.
I guess $8,000. Wait, yeah, because I think her roommate paid a little less, but still, she was paying a lot.
No, that you can't like explain that away. That's insane. That is an insane amount of money.
In my opinion, if you have a roommate, you should not be paying north of like $2,000.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna live in a very nice, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
If you live in a very nice building, like, I can understand, obviously you can go as high as you want.
Yeah.
But I'm talking like Taylor Swift's place kind of deal. Yeah. You're gonna pay a lot. You know, like those like beautiful ones that you see on the fucking inspirational real estate accounts.
Right. Yeah.
Not above a Foot Locker. And that's what's going on right now. So like that's like kind of like why this article, why I originally clicked into it, sorry about that, is that they were sensing there was a conspiracy behind it. And I was like, I'm listening. So, and it's not like this is like first time they've had issues with New York City rent. As we know, there's broker fees here. When I first moved to New York, I was like, what the fuck is this?
I didn't know that was not a thing, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
Did Boston happen too?
I don't remember. My friend Jess got that apartment for us, and I don't remember.
Just outsourced it. Like,
I just outsourced that situation. But yeah, I just feel like obviously here I'm just used to the broker fee, so I just thought that was real estate. I didn't realize it was New York specific.
That's like a weird thing. I think you know what's weird about it. I can understand a broker fee if the people renting out are paying it because they want you to bring in like people who can come and rent your stuff quickly, well qualified candidates, which can get sketchy. That makes kind of sense to pay for someone to come and bring people into you, but to pay to like rent a place, you're like, I thought I was already paying.
Right.
What? Why do I have to pay even more?
Yeah.
And it's rentals. It's not a realtor thing. Whatever. So anyway, that was definitely a thing. And if you remember, and just to give you a sense of like how much money we're talking here, it's like a month's rent. And in some cases, it'll go up as like much as 15%. That has gone up quite a bit since then. Also, there's various situations where it's been like a shit ton more. So why we pay that, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. The Real Estate Board of New York had once been critical of the practice. They used to say that it was like not a good thing. However, then they changed their tune and they said that the fee represented back in the day, they said it was an exploitation of the housing shortage.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they're saying there are thousands of hardworking real estate agents across New York State that deserve compensation for their work and referred us to city and state guidelines around appropriate charges and fees. Sure. So there's no law that requires rent-regulated apartments to be rented to lower middle-income New Yorkers. So what's interesting about this is people are frequently using high broker fees to get people that wouldn't normally be considered lower middle-income New Yorkers. This is fucked up, but like, you know, people who are higher income are like more reliable tenants, I guess, or at least they're considered to be by. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's just kind of like the way
Isn't
they
it like
see it.
40 times your? You have to make 40 times your rent or something like that. Yeah.
Also that
It's
too.
a lot.
So that's the thing is that if you have all the cheap apartments, which are rent regulated, and then you're adding in these exorbitant rent broker fees on top, these people can't afford, there's no cheaper stuff under that.
Yeah.
And then there's no like way they have the 40x any of the ones that might not have the broker fees.
Yeah.
So they don't have housing options. So it's a very easy way of like getting them the fuck out.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. So anyway, they also use these as functional screening mechanisms, indicating significant access to wealth and people who they would want to be, you know, their tenants because they're whatever prejudiced against a variety of against poor people. We'll just call it poor people. They tried to get rid of broker fees in 2019. Do you remember that? There was like that big article that came out. They were briefly removed, and then they were like, just fucking kidding. We actually love charging people more money for things.
Of course. That's the motto of the city.
Yeah. The city is like, hey, go fuck yourself. That's New York City. And it was repealed. So this is like one of the examples of the real estate market being just like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense here.
No.
So let's go into another situation for that. And this is like the main piece. Right now we're having record rents. Why? Well, let's go into like kind of what the population's been doing. Obviously before the pandemic, things were a bit different. New York was growing at a decent clip, but nothing like insane. But 2019, like there was like, you know, increases from 2019 to 2020. Obviously things got a bit different because of, you know, COVID-19.
Right. That old
thing. Remember that? And the data showed that for every 2 people moving to the city, 5 people left for that period. So there was for very obvious reasons, trends down.
Right.
They were leaving before COVID, I guess. Change of address stats had shown there had been more departures than arrivals. Oh, sorry, I kind of lied. Since June 2017. So it was going up to June 2017, then like lightly down, but nothing major. And the earliest month for 2017 was the last month available for data. And then between then and December 2022, USPS data says 2.8 million people came to the city and 3.5 million bailed. for a total net loss of 670. So this is like the Curbed article. This is his numbers that he pulled together. While the USPS, like they're going off the change of address forms, was reporting these kinds of numbers, the census was saying something a little bit different.
Okay.
Which is interesting because the change of address should be like pretty definitive, right?
Yeah, right.
Just you want your mail to go where the fuck you want to go.
Yeah.
So in August 2021, the Census Bureau announced that its 2020 count had found more people living in New York, 8.8 million, than in 2010, 8.2 million. So they were trying to spin this result as a sign of the city's COVID-era resilience. So remember when like they were like, New York City's not dead, and then Mayor Bill de Blasio was like, the Big Apple just got bigger.
Oh, God.
And there were a bunch of articles.
Everybody hated him so much. He was so cringe all the way through.
Yeah. I don't know a ton about him. I kind of ignored his existence. But what's crazy about this, there were a ton of articles that came out around that time about how is New York going to do? Like, are people coming back to the city?
I was kind of worried because during the time that literally there was no one on the streets, you just look up at all these skyscrapers and you're like, what the fuck are we going to do with this?
Right.
Like, what are you going to do with this?
Well, we don't know. Allegedly, people have come back, but that's what's sus. What's also kind of funny about this is there was a lot of articles talking about the return to, New York, the people flooding back. But none of that data made sense. Obviously, in late 2021 and early 2022, this is when the apartment demand really started to jump. Mm-hmm. The Delta fucking variant, then Omicron came back. God. Tourism was classically way down. The unemployment in New York was twice the national rate. People were getting shoved onto the subway tracks. Like, that was happening.
Yeah, that was like a big thing.
Big deal. There was like the shootings and stuff. It was a little
madness.
And then they added this. This is funny. And outdoor dining had emboldened rats to live freely and openly among humans.
That's true.
I guess the rats were like pretty crazy. They were there was a huge rat problem, and then people were like coming up with all these creative ways to fix it. Like there's this article about them using dogs and shit.
There still is a huge rat problem. They're just everywhere.
It's like crazy. One of those, I don't know. We've always had a rat problem. I think we always will.
We always will.
But it got a little out of hand.
Oh my God. You know what I saw in my apartment the other day? It was a cockroach.
See, Austin, Texas. That is a place for cockroaches.
Yeah.
They love Texas. I was so used to them.
Really?
So used to them
Ew,
growing up. So when you say that, I'm like,
oh, God.
They're disgusting.
I cannot deal. I would rather have a rat in my, not a rat. I would rather have a mouse than a cockroach for sure.
Mouse. I mean, honestly, a mouse is kind of fun.
They're super cute. They just run around looking all fucking cute.
Yeah.
And we have cats.
You're like, I have a little pet.
Yeah,
cute.
the cats would be like so excited. They'd be like, oh my God.
The apartment came with a bonus pet. That's great.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Charge me more. In New York, they're going to charge you more for that.
Yeah.
The broker's like, well, it comes with 3 mice, so it's pretty fun.
I can always tell when there's a cockroach because Greg will just stare at the certain corner of the room, and I'm like, here we go. And he doesn't kill it. He just like boops it around.
That's so Greg.
It's so Greg. Yeah, I'm like, you need to kill this thing because it's gross. He does kill flies though. That's pretty impressive, actually.
That's hard.
Yeah, he'll like swat them out of the air.
You need really good reflexes for that.
Yeah,
Password will just sit and watch them and go.
Oh yeah, they do that. Yeah.
And I'm like, all right.
They do that with the birds
Having a small stroke at this?
Yeah. You know that's supposed to mean that they're frustrated.
Really?
That's what I saw in some like cat YouTube video.
No, we'll go with it.
It was like, do your cats do that at the things outside? It means that they're super frustrated.
Oh, but he does it to stuff inside.
Oh, God. I guess he's just pissed.
He's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so back to this. So obviously, they're saying that the city is growing, and they're citing some of these numbers. The New York Census is all excited. Bill de Blasio is all excited, but there's a lot of issues, like high level. Where like, wait, there's definitely issues with the city. We like can't go inside. We're still dealing with all of these different variants. And other sources are saying that it's still losing population. So there's a bunch of different, like the counter narrative, a bunch of different articles came out about New York City's population plummeting, and it's still likely shrinking. And it's, NBC and a couple different, the city.
It makes sense.
It made
without any data. It's like, yeah, that makes sense.
So point is, there was the government saying one thing, and then like some popular news sources saying other things, then other companies or like other news sources supporting what the government, the census was saying, and saying that people were flooding back. They kept saying flooding back.
Oh,
same terminology.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So what the fuck's happening? Like, what is it? Are there people coming back or not? This guy that's where he went to the USPS data, and he couldn't find, he called like a bunch of movers. He called a bunch of people from the government, and the movers were like, yeah, people are definitely consistently still leaving the city. USPS was like, yeah, all these change of address forms are showing that, like, you know, it looks like there's a lot of people who haven't returned, or they just don't get mail anymore, which also potentially a possibility. And then they actually called the government themselves, and the spokesperson directed them to an updated chart buried in the middle of an October 2022 newsletter that was supposed to indicate where the bump was, where the data for the bump was, and it didn't actually have a bump in there. So they just kind of like pointed them to a random like article. Okay, like, here you go.
They pointed them to this podcast.
Yeah, they were like, these girls said like a couple words in a sentence once.
They said, like, I don't know, their apartments suck or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they said that they have cockroaches. So, like, New York City's back. Then the New York Census, a little bit while later, quietly announced that they actually had lost 305,000 residents between July 2020 and July 2021. So they had noted that they had overcounted the population by almost 700,000 people.
Oh, wow.
So all of this to say...
Which is, like, by the way, the population of most small cities.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So obviously the government themselves are going to have a reason to not want to highlight the population loss, because you get federal money based on how many people you have. Mm-hmm. So for them, the fewer people that we have, the worse it becomes in terms of funding, like good old MTA and things like that.
That's kind of scary, because it's like, just because there's a little bit less people, there's still people that rely on the subway every single day. There's still, I
know. Yeah. I kind of can't even blame the government for like trying to.
No, I'm like, good on you, government.
Yeah,
the one thing that you did right, just lie the fuck so I get a little bit. I can get to Laura's quicker. For this
exactly.
I
don't want to wait 8 minutes. I want to wait 4. Damn it.
8 minutes.
That's insane.
Uninhabitable. I can't live in a city that makes me wait 8 minutes. That's outrageous. Isn't it funny when you order an Uber in a different city and it'll be like, your driver is 12 miles away, and you're like, what?
I know. I like have a panic attack.
Yeah, like,
because I always plan
miles?
Like, I'm like going to the airport and I'm like, I have a 7-minute window to make my boarding.
Yeah.
12 miles. Like, you better speed, buddy. I'm calling.
That is one thing that I'm actually pretty up on. Like, when I go to the airport, I am there an hour early.
Really?
I am there an hour early, and I am ready.
If
I'm checked in, and I will be at my gate.
Just sitting there prepared.
Meanwhile,
I am running. How about this? If I'm not running to my gate, I'm mad at myself, because that's wasted time. What was I going to do?
See, I feel like I hate cardio so much that I actively am like a dad at the airport, and I show up hours early. That's how...
Checking with the gate agents. What's the meal going to be?
Oh, yeah. I do ask what the meal's going to be.
What you guys got on this flight?
You know what's pretty outrageous, I have to say, is that the fact that I went from San Francisco to New York City for an hour, like, I guess that's 4 hours, 5 hours, and there should be a meal. I'm sorry.
It depends on when you go. What time of day, I think. Sometimes you get a meal. What airline?
I was ready for a meal. What airline was we talking? United.
Oh. You're lucky you didn't get shot. You want a meal?
They get so rough with their customers.
They really do.
United. If you want to get your ass kicked.
United's like for kinky people.
Yeah.
Like, you want to get beaten up on the way to San Francisco?
In front of everybody and dragged through the plane.
Yeah. And we'll film it.
And everyone's going to put it on the internet.
People are like, yeah, I'll pay extra for that. It's fine. It's not even low cost. That's the craziest part. You're not even paying. It's not even paying the least amount of money. No. And you might get beaten up.
You will get beaten up. That's a United guarantee.
Good for them. Good for them.
They also did a bunch of things. I think it was United. This might have been a different airline that if someone's wearing too skimpy of an outfit, they kick them off.
Oh, yeah. Every airline, I think, had a moment with that. They're like, we hate shorts.
You're wearing shorts on this airplane? It's like, yes, I'm going to fucking Cancun. Is that so bad?
Also, I don't care, dude. Like, I'm in main cabin.
Why does it matter if you're wearing shorts? I can see if you're wearing a thong and a bra.
I think that's kind of like what they are. I've seen some of the pictures where you're like, yeah, that's a skimpy outfit, but also you're sitting down.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like you're milling about the plane the whole time.
It's also not like they work for the airline. Like, they're not a stewardess going around showing everybody their ass cheeks.
Right.
Like they did in the 50s or whatever the fuck.
I know. It's just, relax. They paid money for this.
Okay.
I can understand if it's like if you wore that in a in a location and the police were like, hey, you can't wear that. But
why would the police tell you
no,
can't
but
wear
I
that?
mean, there's never. If you're in the nude, yeah, then you can say something. United Airlines. If the woman is nude or the man is nude, if I can see balls, then we need to have a conversation.
Sure.
But this is a different thing.
That's so funny. Okay, back to the homeless population or whatever we're talking about.
But it's gonna be fucking us pretty soon if the prices keep going the way they are.
Yeah.
Okay, so everything I've just talked about right now is, government is trying to get us some more money from the feds, and we don't know if we've lost population or not. The reason that that's so interesting is at this exact same time, there's been a lot of buildings going up.
Yeah.
And rents are at historic highs, like Foot Locker, induced highs.
Yeah.
Crazy amounts of money. They were really low during the pandemic. And at first people were like, oh, they're just rebounding. You're not getting your pandemic deals, but it's higher than it's ever been. The median rent passed $4,000 for the first time. Median.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Here's another one. The average rent, hold on. The latest rental market report from Douglas Elliman and Miller Samuel, who cares, monthly release tracking pricing in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and parts of Queens, so not just like one of the boroughs, found that median and average rents in Manhattan climbed to $4,150 was the median.
Wow.
And $5,113 was the average.
Wow. Oh my God, that's so upsetting.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm so before I lived with Mark, the last time I lived with someone else was this like shitty apartment with 2 roommates in the East Village. And so like seeing these numbers, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like I was paying like $1,500 a month.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. You'd have to be in like deep Brooklyn for that. People are also, so beyond that, obviously people are paying out the ass for apartments, but beyond that, it's also it's moving so fast. We talked about broker fees earlier. Now they're having to pay things that I'm sure this is not the official term, but I found it funny. Cuck money.
What do you mean?
Where people are paying fees on like sight unseen apartments. There's some where it'll be like these under the table kind of like friends will bring them in kind of deal, and you have to pay like what you think is fair. So you're kind of bidding against yourself, and you're frequently like there was one article I read where someone offered like $1,200 over asking and still didn't get selected.
Wow.
And they were just like, yeah, this is like what it's advertised for. You can pay that if you want.
Whoa.
If you do, you're never going to get it. Not wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
that sucks. I hate that.
Record prices, they're going for, astronomical amounts of money, and are also going really quickly with these like shady little cuck money situations around them. So like, what is going on? Why?
Yeah.
And as we talked about, it looks like the data on people coming here is not accurate. So what's happening? This thing called warehousing. So this guy had a little story to kind of help explain it. In 2017, he says, I moved to a new rental tower in downtown Brooklyn. The agent promised me this was the very last available 1-bedroom.
Sure.
The guy pushed the wrong elevator button and got out on the floor below his without realizing it. When he went up to what he thought was his door, his key wouldn't fit in the lock, so he just kind of turned the knob and pushed and came into a completely empty, totally untouched 1-bedroom. He goes back out and looks at the rest of the doors. They all had masking tape over their door frames on the presumably empty apartments. So that whole floor was completely empty.
Oh, wow. And they were trying to tell him that he was the last 1-bedroom.
There were no more 1-bedrooms in that apartment available.
Oh, my God.
And sure, there's a lot of different ways that you can maybe explain like that specific situation. Like maybe they were new or whatever. But this is a known practice that people have done before and have gotten kind of in trouble for. This thing called warehousing, which is when landlords keep unrented apartments off the market to create artificial scarcity.
Oh.
Building owners have always done this, especially in new constructions with lots of virgin inventory, which might have been this situation, because why give renters the upper hand if they don't have to?
Oh my God.
They really started doing it during the pandemic, understandably, if 600,000 people left, presumably majority in New York City. Let's be real. They're not leaving fucking Albany. No one's fleeing Albany. They're fleeing to Albany, which is not a great situation. On this 2022 episode of a real estate industry podcast, Talking Manhattan, go check them out. you don't. I mean, do if you like real estate, but probably not. Gary Malin, COO of the Corcoran Group, Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank fame, made a surprising claim. At one point during the downturn, the vacancy rate in the city was close to 25%.
Holy shit.
You had owners who were sitting on hundreds, if not thousands, of empty apartments. But the price, and obviously the price has decreased, but it wasn't like that much, right? So then if the pricing was if there was 25%, decreased, officially it was 4.3%. Like that was like the official number. So I probably trust Gary because he's like actually in real estate versus like whatever the government releases.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they only reflect the number of rentable apartment that landlords are advertising, not the actual sit empty. So that's probably why the 4.3% was like much lower than that 25% that he was saying. So there's definitely an incentive to underreport how many are available or vacant. He went back and asked the same guy, Gary Malin, what the vacancy rate was now. And he says, I think it's close to 2%. So unless an owner is intentionally keeping units off the market for whatever their reasons, maybe they need to do renovations, maybe they plan to sell the building and think it's better to sell it vacant. Right now, if you have apartments available, you are renting them. That was his like official statement as like an owner of or COO of Corcoran Group.
Okay.
So he's saying that it was 25%, now it's 2%, delta of 23%. This is why I said this is going to be complicated. There's a lot of fucking numbers going on
right
here. A 23-point drop in the vacancy rate would signal an inflow of hundreds of thousands of residents who haven't yet appeared in any of the data that we were talking about.
Interesting. Okay.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like all of a sudden he's saying only 2% of apartments are sitting empty. But USPS and all these other sources are saying like, no, there hasn't been like.
But where are the people?
What fucking people are renting these apartments? And it's just for people might be like, oh, but it's Airbnb. You can't like Airbnb in New York. They basically don't let you. Not like quite, but like it's extremely complicated. So that's not what's going on in this case.
Right.
It's a nightmare. We know that New York City lost people, and we also know that warehousing is a thing. This actually has impacted specifically affordable housing. There was the Warehousing Act of 2021, the End Warehousing Act of 2021. It's a known thing that they've been doing and they're in trouble for.
Oh, shit.
20,000 rent-stabilized apartments were being warehoused because landlords admitted to it. And a Census Bureau actually put that number at about 42,000. They were blaming a 2019 state law, the Housing Stability and Tenants Protection Act, which limits the amounts they can raise rents to pay for renovations. So they were rent stabilized. They were saying like, we can't, pay for the things to get fixed in there. So it's cheaper for us to just not take it on the market. And they were like,
yeah,
all right, I don't know about that. They've gone back and forth on this quite a bit of time. The people who work for the government are like, those don't actually, I think you guys are lying. They actually don't need gut renovations. They just need like some painting or whatever like that. But there hasn't been really a consensus on what to do about this. The reality is there's probably about 40,000 rent stabilized, so low income apartments that are not available to New Yorkers when there's which is really shitty when there's over 100,000 homeless people, in shelters every night.
That's crazy.
So there's that. So point is we know that there's admitted warehousing that's occurring.
Yeah.
So then we also know that there's some issues like, with the more high rise, if not non-affordable housing.
Yeah.
Lots of high rises were built before 2022 to take advantage of 421A, which is a really popular tax break that expired in 2022. It created an oversupply of so-called luxury units that were too expensive for most normal New Yorkers. These things have like pools, gyms, laundry, 3 months rent. If you live in any other city, it's what we would call a normal apartment.
Right. Yeah.
Here we're like, what? You have a washer dryer?
Oh,
you have gotta be kidding.
I don't have one of those. No, I do not.
It was the neighborhoods with the expensive high rises that saw some of the steepest peak COVID losses because people who, have the means for that usually have, well-off parents or something, like people who they can leave and go off to.
Right.
So the average incomes in the pandemic deserters was 28% higher than the residents who stayed. So those buildings specifically were getting impacted more than other buildings, like the low income or whatever the hell, like, or just like small spots.
Yeah.
Now, the reason that this is important is because all of a sudden these ones are the ones that are like with the astronomically high, you know, rents and saying like, oh my God, like you can get so much money. Like it's like breaking all the records. Yeah. So what, for instance, one example, one new rental tower in the financial district saw occupancy drop 24% in 2020, but by 2022, January, the glut was gone and they had reached all-time highs for that building.
Oh my God. What the hell is a glut?
Glut, like the, it's, I don't know exactly what they mean in this, but like the delta.
Okay. I see.
The group.
The difference.
The difference.
Okay.
So this person is postulating that landlords are hiding supplies to keep their rent up.
Wow.
And often will say that there's like, you know, they have like minimums that they have to charge in terms of meeting with the agreements that they made for the lenders to develop the buildings in the first place. So at this point, all feels like on the, you know, unfortunate, but kind of on the up and up. So like, why in this case wouldn't one really smart landlord go and, you know, charge way less than everybody, rent out 100% and make a killing?
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah.
The only way that they'd be able to know not to do that, because like if they do that, then everyone loses, like the collective amount of money they're making goes down, even if he makes more.
Yeah,
That's what we call a fucking free market, competitive.
Right. Yeah.
That's how the economy's supposed to work. So the only way that they could avoid that is if they worked together in this thing called price fixing.
Oh boy.
And the way that they are hypothesizing that they're now able to do it is at the very same time as all of this occurring, this company came out with this software called RealPage Revenue Management Software. RealPage is a Texas-based company that works by collecting private pricing and inventory stats from competing building owners. They then take that data to give each of them recommendations for how to price their available apartments so that nobody undercuts the other.
Wow.
So basically that means like my building and like whatever your building, let's say, and like a couple other buildings would all sign up for the software, and it's going to say, yeah, you should charge $4,200 for, you know, this, you know, whatever, 2-bedroom apartment or something like that, based on our data. And they go, cool. And they put it in.
Okay.
It'll also say what their amount of vacancy should be, like what they recommend it. ProPublica ran a story on this software. It's very interesting. And in it, they have a lot of quotes from these people where one of their executives, a RealPage executive, was bragging at a conference, obviously where they're trying to sell this software. They say that his company's algorithm was responsible for rent increases nationwide.
Fuck off.
I think it's driving it, quite honestly. As a property manager, very few of us would be willing to actually raise rents double digits within a single month by doing it manually.
Holy shit.
The software discourages negotiations with tenants and has been known to tell owners to goose prices by holding back supply.
Wow.
Yeah. On a 2017 earnings call, their CEO just said that they saw revenues go up when their buildings that had been historically been 97 or 98% full cleared out to 95%. So basically by pulling back the amount of units available, the whole price of the building went up.
Oh, weird. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
An occupancy level that would have made management uncomfortable before. And this is a central mantra of RealPage, to sacrifice physical occupancy in exchange for economic occupancy.
Wow.
You know, things that humans can live in.
Yeah.
It's a manufactured term that RealPage uses to refer to increasing prices and decreasing occupancy in the market.
Jesus. People are so evil.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
So, and that's what's kind of crazy about this. So like, you know, I understand that you're going to use software to help you make decisions. Like, you don't need to fucking pen and paper it. A lot of people back in the day, the apartment complexes would call each other to understand kind of like what their pricing levels were at so they could price accordingly. Even that feels kind of fucking sus to me. But price fixing and collusion to like do, that's illegal.
It's illegal.
It's illegal unless I'm an idiot. And if anyone's a lawyer, I would love commentary on this.
It feels like it would be illegal.
It feels like it would be illegal. And the reason also, another unfortunate circumstance here is one of the guys that they brought in to help direct their revenue management, or I think he was doing the software, but he was previously the director of revenue management at Alaska Airlines in the 1980s. When that airline and others developed software that led to a price fixing settlement with the Department of Justice in 1994.
Wow.
And they were like, we loved your work. We loved that. Can you come on over, Mr. Jeffrey Roper, and develop this software so that people, and that's the thing, is that they're now able to like point towards the software and say, hey, we're just following the guidelines.
Right.
From this, it's like AI. Like, it's smart.
Oh my God.
So smart. I don't know if it's AI. Point is, it's like a complex system. But really, that's just their way of talking to each other without having to like say they're talking to each other.
Right.
And price fixing.
Damn, that's insane.
Yeah. The spokesperson also told me that RealPage software is only used by property managers of approximately 2% of New York City rental apartments, but given the total stock of 2.27 million units, that's about 40,000 units, and the units it's touching specifically are buildings that are like high rises.
Yeah.
So it's like a very specific influential part of the market. So that combined with all the other factors we were talking about is like going to super fuck up a market into the point where like we have so many units that are apparently sitting empty. We don't know what the actual amount is. We're paying out the ass when there's less people here.
Yeah, it's so weird.
And and they're making a lot of money. So good for them, I guess.
Not
what
really.
I'm saying is go work in real estate.
Yeah, that's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I feel like the real estate market is always extremely shady.
They're so shady.
So shady.
There's
tons of like this is like a separate conversation, separate podcast, but tons of like discrimination and
oh yeah. Good. I mean, I remember when I moved here and the broker fees just blew my mind.
Oh yeah.
I bet that's a thing in other cities too, but like not in the US. It doesn't feel reasonable.
No.
I can also understand if it was like, oh, this is like the most unique apartment in the world, but it's like over a Foot Locker kind of deal.
And you're like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, apartment hunting is not for the faint of heart.
No, it's not.
It fucking sucks.
It's not. But hopefully, so right now the Department of Justice is investigating RealPage. The ProPublica article came out at the end of 2022. Curbed just released this article on New York specifically.
Chickens are coming home to roost.
Hopefully. I'm like assuming people are on it. If they're not,
we're on the case.
We're on the case.
We're going to get you your apartment and it won't be above Foot Locker.
Yeah. You can come live with me.
That's a risky business guarantee.
But isn't that crazy?
Yes. That's insane.
I hope it made sense because I know there was a lot of numbers in there. There's a lot of moving parts, but conspiracy, the government's in on it, and specifically this guy, Jeffrey Roper. Look at him. Look at his mustache.
God.
Yeah.
It like, ugh. People are greedy. They greedy.
And it sucks because it's like so many people have had to leave the city. So it's continuing to drive the problem. And there's obviously so many homeless people here.
I know. How do you live with yourself?
Like,
honestly.
Also, like, it's annoying. Like, I don't want to pay this much.
No, it's insane. It's crazy. Like, the whole economy of New York is going to implode because of this because no one's going to want to live here,
right.
past it gets unreasonable to live here past a certain age for 99.9% of people.
Yeah.
And so you're losing out on like the entirety of, I would say, people like ages like 35 to 65.
Yeah, you can't have a kid here.
No, it's insanely challenging to have a kid here.
I'm curious how this actually, you know what, unfortunately I bet nothing happens. At best, I think we can maybe get the RealPage to get reviewed by the Department of Justice and have to like release some report on how their software is being used. I don't think that kind of software should actually be used. Like,
no, I agree.
Being able to give them the pricing data anonymized of their region is just, no. They should be going based on like what people are willing to pay. I don't know. This goes a little beyond my scope, but it feels off. And I don't like it. So
not my thing.
Anyway, that's all I have to say on that.
Yeah, same. Wow. Well, good luck on your apartment hunt. I don't know any.
Couldn't tell you. They're not available.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. They're not available. I actually know of a bunch of places where they have tons, but they're not going to let you rent them. And hope you saved up for that first, last, and security deposit plus a broker's fee. 40x your salary.
5,000, whatever.
Or no, 40x the rent should be your salary. And like and subscribe to our podcast to get a
discount. Definitely follow up on that discount. Yeah, 5 stars.
Actually, somebody just texted me. I just looked at my phone because it was buzzing, and somebody just texted me. There's free Dunkin' with a code.
What the fuck? What's happening right now?
So that's something I could give you guys.
All right.
Promo code Winter Warrior 23, free Dunkin'.
All right, there you go. I'm glad you stuck around to the end for that free Dunkin' Donuts. That's actually not bad, though.
No, it's not bad. I will do that.
There you go.
Like and subscribe, though. Seriously, we gave you free Dunkin' Donuts. How could you possibly be mad at us? And follow us on Instagram. I'm May_Plannert.
I'm Laura Sogar, and it's Risque Business News for the pod. And 5 stars, please. And tell your friends, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.